Well, how do you stop this?
You don't. They're good. I mean, obviously, we all know, we all watch them. So when you break them down, it's what they do. Like everybody said, oh, Kansas played them pretty tough. Well, they had 10 possessions against Kansas, 11 counting their victory formation. And Kansas had 2 turnovers and gave up 8 touchdowns in 10 possessions. So that's Iowa State got 2 turnovers. They kicked 3 field goals and scored 4 touchdowns in a victory formation. So they don't have a lot of possessions, but they're lethal when they have the ball, and they run time off the clock and they score points. So they're efficient.
You mentioned limited possessions. Army limited them, but they did stop them. What did Army do that was able to hold them down?
Army's offense just took off 12 minutes, I think, in the second quarter. Oklahoma didn't have the ball. And then Army got a turnover and had a goal line stand. So they were their other 2 possessions, the rest of them.
Explosive plays, what were they able to do to limit the opportunities that they had to take away those explosive plays?
Yeah, they still gave up some big ones, but they did a pretty good job. And they were playing a lot of cover 2 and, some quarter stuff, just guys deep.
Health-wise, how are things looking for you right now, especially?
Not good. Same stuff. 5 of our top 6 linebackers are out. So same thing it was last week.
Chance of Oakland inviting him to play winter ball before Saturday?
I hope. No, it's going to be a great challenge. By no means am I sitting here saying that it's undoable. I mean, what we have to do, we have to limit big plays, number one. We have to be able to create some turnovers. And then we all know, and just like Dana's, said to you guys and to the staff and to the player, I mean, we're going to have to score points. So you get in these kind of games, it is what it is. You throw all the stats out, and you got to be able to play good and try to get a couple turnovers and, try to hold them down.
Do they design anything for Murray in the run game that's different, or does he get a lot of his stuff when things break down and he just takes off?
No, there's a lot of design quarterback run. You got counter, some power, quarterback power, cornerback counter, draw is big, and then he just creates. He's so good on the run when he gets out of the pocket. I mean, he can throw it on the run either way, and I guess that's the baseball part of him. Why he can do that, but he's just different. In the pocket, he's not very tall, so at times he struggles. But the biggest test for us is going to be able to try to keep him in the pocket. So
teams try to pressure them much. Would you see it on TV?
Yeah, they do.
Obviously not very successful.
No, and you do it, and obviously they got Lamb and Brown on the outside that could hurt you. So they have big play potential everywhere.
So who do you have at linebacker that you can?
The same guys we've been playing with the last few weeks.
Just hope they can overcome the dings and pains.
Yeah, I mean, we have Shea, we have Giovanni, we have David Long, we have Zach Sandwich, we have X-Ray Lowe, and we have Chandler. So.
Tony, positives and negatives of putting a spy on a kid like Kyler Murray? What goes good? What goes bad with that?
Well, the bad part is you lose a guy in coverage, number one, or you lose a guy in your pass rush. The good part is if you have somebody that can catch him. You don't waste a guy just putting down to spy him, and then they can't do it. And some teams have tried that, but.
Oklahoma's pretty deep at running back, clearly, if you look at the stats. What have you seen out of that group?
I tell you, they're bad on injury, too, at running back. So Sermon played 2 snaps against Kansas, has had an ankle the last few weeks, so he went out after the second play. They've had a bunch of guys beat up, though, and so they're not as deep as what they've been, which in my mind I would think now they're going to run Murray a little more. because of that. So
Statistically, your defense is completely different at home as it is on the road. And I know its opponent has something to do with that. I think it's like 13 a game you're giving up at home and 32 a game on the road. Well, can you put your finger around that, why that is?
well, I think the first thing is look who we play at home and look who we play on the road. I would think that I don't know if we played anybody with a winning record at home that we've beaten. On the road, we've played Texas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and all the teams are in top of our league. Now, not to take anything away from our guys either. They play, and I think they play as good as they can play at times. You know, we get wore out. We played 54 snaps in the second half the other day. We defended 17 possessions. So when that happens, you're going to get wore down. And if you don't have depth, then good luck. Hold on.
Is there an emotion aspect to that?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with our crowd. I think that, you know, you get a little bit of momentum and the crowd gets into it, and I think our kids feed off of that. Just like the other teams we play on the road, they feed off of their crowd. So.
You didn't mention Ferns or Qualls as potentials at linebacker. Any closer to getting anything out of them?
I don't think so. Ferns is more game ready than what Qualls is, but he's still not. It's not fair to that kid to throw him in. Now, we may have to. So, but, you know, he's dressed, ready to go and getting reps. If I had to say, you know, he's probably 85% game ready. Now, his knee's 100% cleared, but still there's a mental makeup to that, and there's 6 months of doing nothing with football with that as well.
Gibby, do you have to have like a short-term memory against this team?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't let a big play linger. And the one thing, you know, the stat guy Jed filled me in on this last week. I think we're one of 2 teams in the country that haven't given up a play over 50 yards. And if we could do that and come out of this game without that, then we'll be in pretty good shape.
They've got a bunch of impressive stats. Right? 8.5 yards a game per play or whatever. What's the one that just immediately you look at and go, whoa?
They've only punted 27 times all year. That's the one that you say, whoa.
I guess third down is what, 51%?
Yeah. Yeah, that and they're averaging 50 points a game. So, you know, the list goes on and on and on. So, but what I like about it, it's at home on a Friday night. Our kids will be juiced up, and you know we're not going to back down. Don't take that out of any of this that I'm saying. They're good, but I think we got good players too, and I think our kids are going to come out and fight, and it's going to be a great challenge. And you know, Dana said it best to the staff on Sunday. Hey, you got to beat OU at some point to win the Big 12. Well, we got a chance, and it's at home, so we'll be ready to go.
How tough is it to judge if Kyler Murray is going to run or pass?
If I knew that, I guarantee it we'd win. So, but he's a where he can extend a play, and you don't know. You know, I mean, you don't know when he's going to just take off, and there's times when he has openings or he has a zone read play where they collapse on the back and he doesn't pull it, and then there's times when they do account for him and he pulls it and will make a guy miss. So, you know, there's nothing that gives it away when he's going to take off or when he's not.
Tony, what would you liken being a defensive coordinator in this league to?
Say that one more time.
What would you compare being a defensive coordinator in this league to?
Drinking water out of a fire hose. It's nonstop. I mean, you know, you can't catch your breath. It's just game day, and you saw it last week. You know, defending 54 snaps at a high tempo and fast pace. You can't get calls in. You can't. I mean, it's miserable, Bob. Miserable.
Is getting calls in and getting the communication, is that some of the hardest part of the up-tempo?
Yes. And what's good about us is really we can get lined up for the most of the time. But the problem is with that is we get lined up in the same front, same coverage every time, and when people have good players, they're going to expose that.
Tony, you've played some really good offenses here over the years. I think Baylor and Texas Tech and one, and really shut them down. But they're all different, I'm guessing. But it's not fair to compare. But is this unlike, or is it like other challenges?
No, it's just like other challenges. Like I said, these guys they're a good football team, and they complement each other and what they do on offense, and they can run the ball. And that's what makes them different than a lot of teams in our league is they could just flat out pound you. And they eat a lot of clock, and they limit possessions, and then when they do have to get into a high-paced game, they can outscore you. So, it's no different than Baylor 2014 or Texas Tech the last few years with Mahomes. And so it's,
Going off Bob's question, though, I would imagine it's frustrating. You can't dust off the Baylor game plan and plug it in against a good offense. I mean, how different, I guess, is what you do?
Well, it's really different. Baylor's quarterback in 2014, you weren't afraid of him running, so you could pressure him and know that he would be in the pocket and he couldn't get away from the pressure. This kid, if you pressure, he gets away from it, it's a touchdown. So.
Best offensive line you've seen this year?
Yeah, they're the best O-line in the Big 12. Yes. Texas is pretty good too, but these guys got a lot of experience back. Texas played a freshman, but it's a good player, but these guys the game experience for them is 4 of their 5 have started games before this past year. So.
Kind of on the other side of that, where are you at with how your defensive line's been playing these last few weeks, particularly coming off?
Okay. I thought TCU we played better than we did at Oklahoma State. I thought we had opportunities to make some plays the other day, and we didn't, and then there were times that we did. I thought Zeke, and somebody asked that question after the game. I don't know who it was, but he did. He played. I thought Zeke played as well as he's played all year long last week. So, there's certain guys at certain times are doing some good things up there, and it's still good to have that much depth. How to be able to roll 7, 8 guys and keep them fresh.
5 linebackers in the nation better than David Long?
Say it again.
Are there 5 linebackers in the nation better than David Long?
In my opinion, no. But obviously my opinion doesn't matter. So if there's 5, I'd like to see them. Yeah.